Turkey 50 KURUS 2009. Estimated value $1 million. Imagine finding a small coin that looks like ordinary pocket change, only to discover that a rare example could have an estimated value of $1 million. Today we are looking at the 2009 Turkey 50 KURUS coin, a modern Turkish coin that may appear simple at first glance, but can become extremely interesting when collectors discover unusual characteristics, rare varieties, minting errors, or exceptional condition. So before you ever spend an old 50 KURUS, take a closer look, because the smallest detail can sometimes make the biggest difference. And if you love rare coins and incredible discoveries, make sure you subscribe to $1 Million Coin, because here we explore the stories behind coins that many people might otherwise overlook. The coin featured in today's video is a 50 KURUS from Turkey, dated 2009. The inscription Turkiye Cumhuriyeti identifies the Republic of Turkey, while the other side displays the 50 KURUS denomination and the year 2009. Its distinctive two-tone design makes it easy to recognize as a modern Turkish coin. To someone unfamiliar with numismatics, it may look like an ordinary piece of currency, but collectors know that the first impression is not always enough. The real question is whether a particular example contains something that separates it from normal coins. When collectors examine a coin like this, they carefully study the date, denomination, lettering, design, rim, edge, and surfaces. They compare the coin with standard examples and look for unusual characteristics. A genuine minting error can sometimes make an individual coin far more desirable than a normal example. However, not every scratch, dent, or strange-looking mark is an error. Damage that happened after the coin left the mint is very different from a characteristic created during the manufacturing process. This distinction is extremely important. Imagine seeing an unusual line across the coin. It could look exciting, but it might simply be a scratch caused during circulation. On the other hand, if a strange feature was created during the actual minting process, it could potentially be much more significant. Collectors therefore investigate how a feature was created before deciding whether it has real numismatic importance. The same applies to unusual lettering, numbers, alignment, doubling, or other visual differences. A photograph alone is not always enough to prove that a coin is rare. The 2009 date is another important part of the coin's identity. Dates allow collectors to distinguish different issues and investigate possible varieties. But having the date 2009 does not automatically mean that every Turkey 50 KURUS from that year is worth a huge amount. The $1 million estimated value discussed in this video refers to an exceptionally rare example with characteristics that would need to be properly identified and authenticated. In other words, the date is only the beginning of the investigation. Condition also plays a major role. A coin that has circulated for years may have scratches, worn details, dents, and contact marks. A coin preserved in excellent condition may retain much sharper original details and attract greater interest. If you ever discover a potentially valuable coin, there is one rule you should always remember: never clean it. Do not polish it, rub it with abrasive materials, or use chemicals to make it shine. Cleaning can damage the original surface and may reduce collector interest. The edge should also be examined. Many people only look at the front and back of a coin, but experienced collectors know that the edge can provide additional information. They check whether it matches the normal appearance of the issue and whether there are unusual features. If something appears different, the important question is whether it happened during minting or after the coin entered circulation. That difference can completely change how collectors view the coin. Now imagine finding this 2009 50 KURUS in an old collection. Perhaps it has been sitting in a drawer for years. You notice the date, the denomination, and then something unusual catches your eye. Maybe the alignment seems different. Maybe the lettering looks unusual. Maybe the edge doesn't appear normal. This is the moment when you should stop and investigate instead of spending the coin. Take clear photographs of both sides, photograph the edge, preserve the coin carefully, and compare it with reliable examples. If the unusual feature still looks genuine, professional examination becomes important. A valuable coin should be authenticated before anyone makes a serious claim about its worth. This is particularly important when the estimated value reaches $1 million. A high price shown on an internet listing is not automatically proof of market value. Anyone can ask any price for a coin. What matters is whether the coin is authentic, whether its rarity can be demonstrated, and whether serious collectors would actually be willing to pay that amount. This is also why provenance can matter. If a rare coin has a documented history showing where it came from and how it was preserved, that information can provide additional confidence. For an extremely valuable coin, collectors want evidence. They want to know that the coin is genuine, that the unusual feature is legitimate, and that the story behind the coin can be supported. The fascinating thing about modern coins is that they don't have to be hundreds of years old to become collectible. The 2009 Turkey 50 KURUS has already been around for many years. Since its production, coins from this period have passed through countless transactions, shops, banks, and collections. Most examples may be completely ordinary, but unusual examples can sometimes survive unnoticed. That is why collectors continue searching through old coins, even when the coins themselves are relatively modern. Think about how easily a rare coin could be overlooked. Someone receives it as change, puts it in a drawer, and forgets about it. Years later, another person finds it and notices a detail that doesn't look normal. That simple moment of curiosity can begin an entire investigation. The collector starts comparing photographs, studying references, examining the edge, and looking for evidence that the feature is genuine. This is the real excitement of coin collecting. It isn't simply about finding something old. It is about finding something different. A coin with a recognized variety, a genuine mint era, exceptional preservation, or another unusual characteristic can become much more interesting than an ordinary example of the same date and denomination. And this is why the $1 million estimated value associated with our featured rare example is so extraordinary. $1 million is not a normal value for a modern circulation coin. Such a valuation would require extraordinary evidence. The coin would need to be genuine. Its unusual characteristic would need to be established, and its rarity and market demand would need to be supported. Without that evidence, a $1 million claim should always be treated cautiously. So if you own a 2009 Turkey 50 KURUS, don't automatically assume that you have $1 million coin. At the same time, don't automatically assume that it is worthless. Examine it carefully. Look at the date, denomination, lettering, design, rim, edge, and overall condition. Compare it with normal examples. If you notice something genuinely unusual, get an expert opinion before making any decision. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is trying to improve the appearance of a coin. They think that cleaning will make it look newer and therefore more valuable. In reality, cleaning can permanently damage the surface. The original appearance of a coin is part of its history, and collectors generally want to see that original surface preserved. So if you believe your coin could be rare, leave it exactly as you found it. Another mistake is believing every expensive internet listing. A seller might list a coin for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, but an asking price does not prove that anyone will actually pay that amount. Real collector value depends on many factors, including authenticity, rarity, condition, documentation, and actual market demand. This is especially important when dealing with a claimed value as high as $1 million. The 2009 Turkey 50 KURUS therefore gives us an important lesson. Face value and collector value are not the same thing. The coin's denomination tells us how it functioned as currency. Its collector value, if it has one, depends on what makes that individual example special. A tiny difference can sometimes create a huge difference in interest. When collectors examine a potentially rare coin, they ask many questions. Is it genuine? Is the date correct? Is the design normal? Is the unusual feature actually a minting error? Is it a recognized variety? How many examples are known? Has the coin been cleaned or damaged? What condition is it in? Is there professional documentation? And most importantly, is there real collector demand for it? Those questions are much more important than simply looking at a number written beside a photograph. Now take another look at our featured coin. It is a Turkey 50 KURUS dated 2009, with the inscription Türkiye Cumhuriyeti, the denomination 50 KURUS, and its distinctive modern two-tone design. The coin itself is small, but the possibilities that make rare coins fascinating are much bigger. A single unusual characteristic can make collectors look at the same coin in a completely different way. For the rare example discussed in this video, the estimated value is up to $1 million. But remember, this is an extraordinary estimate for a genuinely rare and authenticated example. It should not be understood as a guaranteed value for every 2009 Turkey 50 KURUS coin. The exact value of any individual coin depends on its specific characteristics, condition, authenticity, rarity, and the market. So what should you do if you find one? Don't spend it immediately, don't clean it, don't scratch it, don't try to repair it. Keep it safe, take clear photographs, examine both sides and the edge, and compare it with reliable examples. If something appears unusual, seek professional advice. A proper examination could tell you whether you have a normal circulated coin, an interesting variety, or something much more significant. The greatest lesson from rare coins is that you should never judge them only by their appearance. A coin may look ordinary while hiding a detail that makes it unusual. That is why experienced collectors take their time. They look carefully, compare carefully, and verify before making conclusions. Imagine finding this coin after years of being forgotten. Imagine discovering a feature that makes it different. Imagine having that feature professionally confirmed. Suddenly, a small piece of Turkish currency becomes something with a much bigger story. That is the magic of numismatics. Every coin has a history. Every coin has traveled somewhere. Every coin has been handled by someone. But a rare coin can carry a story that very few other examples can tell. And that is why collectors continue searching through old collections, coin boxes, and forgotten change. The 2009 Turkey 50 KURUS may be a modern coin, but a genuinely rare example can still become a fascinating collectible. The estimated value we are discussing today is an incredible $1 million. $1 million. That number is certainly enough to make anyone take a second look, but the real value of the story comes from understanding what could make an individual coin so rare. So the next time you see a 50 KURUS coin from 2009, don't immediately ignore it. Look at the date, study the design, check the lettering, examine the rim and edge, look carefully at the surfaces, and if something seems unusual, take the time to investigate, because sometimes the difference between ordinary pocket change and an extraordinary collectible is only one tiny detail. And sometimes that tiny detail is the reason a coin becomes unforgettable. So before you spend your next old coin, remember this story. A coin doesn't have to look spectacular to deserve a closer examination. Sometimes the most interesting discoveries are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice what everyone else missed. And if that person happens to be you, a simple 50 KURUS coin could become the beginning of one of the most incredible discoveries in your collection.